Hi everybody, Mrs. McCoy here, and I'm going to go over what we're doing today outside here at when we're doing our outdoor learning. So we're going to be creating tessellations today. So remember, I had went over some of this with all of you. What you're going to need today is if you have an index card at home, sometimes we have them. This is what one looks like. It usually has lines on one side, blank on another side. If you don't have an index card, that's okay too. You can grab a piece of construction paper. I'm going to show you how you can make one here. You could grab any old piece of paper is fine too, but sometimes the thicker the better because you will be tracing the shape. So I want to make sure that the paper doesn't bend while you're in the middle of tracing it. So first things first, so as you can see in our slides today, a tessellation is a repeated geometric design. And we're actually going to make our own tessellation pieces out of the index cards or out of paper. I'm going to show you both. So I will need a pencil and some scissors. So I have scissors here. I'm just grabbing myself a little pencil. I also have some markers nearby, some colored pencils. I already have one kind of started here, so you can kind of see, what we're going to be working on. So let me just pull this one out. So this one I have already started with you. So I had created a shape out of my index cards, and then I went through and I traced the shape onto my paper here. And notice that they go one way, and then that goes the other way, and then it goes back this way. Now, another thing you might notice in the end is every single one has the same exact face on it because that's a tessellation. It's a repetitive design. Now, the colors don't have to be the same. Notice the first one I colored in rainbow. The next one, I could do another crazy design in. I could do polka dots. I could just color it one solid color, whatever I wanted to. So once the pattern is created, you can color it however you want to color it. So that's the cool thing about tessellation. So here's the first one. I started with pencil. Then I traced over it with black Sharpie, and then I kind of just went through and started to color in and add a little bit of color. So let's get started with how you're going to make your shapes here. So I have two index cards here, and I'm going to try my best just to move my computer a little bit closer for you so you can see exactly what I'm doing on these index cards back here. So I'm going to do kind of an easy shape, and then I'm going to do one where it's a little more advanced. So you can choose whatever level it works best for you. If it's confusing to you on one shape, then try the kind of more of the basic one. So using my pencil, what I'm going to do is I am going to pick a side. I could use this side here. I could use the top. I'm going to pick a side, and I actually think because my card is already this way, I'm going to choose this side of the shape. So starting at one corner of the shape, what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a design, or even if it's a simple triangle shape. But what I want to do is start at one corner and stop at the opposite corner. So I'm going to start here, and I'm going to end here. So watch me first. So I think I'll just do kind of a basic like swirly kind of shape. So watch what I do here. I'm going to come out, and I'm just going to kind of do a little swirl, and then I'm going to come back to the corner. So I know you can't see it, so let me just grab my marker over here. Sorry about that. And I'm just going to trace without writing on the board. I'm just going to trace what I just drew. You don't have to do this part. I just want you to see what I did. So notice it started at one corner and it goes to the next corner. This is a basic shape. So I'm going to pull this off right now. Let me just take the tape off of the back so I don't get stuck everywhere. So what I'm going to do is I'm now going to cut out right on the line here. So if you don't have a great steady hand at cutting, sometimes just doing an easy shape, like I said, just taking it and doing like a little triangle kind of like that is sometimes even the best one because those are easier to cut out. You could even just do a little bit of an oval or like a half circle here. That would be fine too. So watch me carefully here. I am going to just cut right along that line that I created. Just like that. So now I have two pieces here. As you can see, I cut that out. Now don't get rid of this because you're going to need it. So what you're going to do from here is this is where some tape comes in handy. So some Scotch tape, masking tape, any kind of tape that you have. I actually have some Scotch tape right over here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the shape, I'm going to pull it out. Now watch carefully what I do. I slide it to the other side. So look how what I end up with. Once I tape it together, I'm going to end up with this kind of crazy looking shape here. So I cut it out from this side and I put it on this side. The reason why we're doing this is because it's going to fit together like a puzzle. So all of these pieces, we want to make sure that they fit together and there's no like big spaces between the two pieces. So let me just quickly take a piece of tape and I'm going to I'm trying to kind of not do too much space here, but I'm just going to attach the tape. This is a little hard to do holding it up in the air, sorry. And there you go. I've created a tessellation piece. Now this is a basic tessellation piece. There's other ways that you can make them. You can make them more advanced. Like I could have cut a little something out right here and then taped it below. There's many different ways to do it. But if you're just looking for a basic shape, something like this could work too. So I'll do one more just to show you. So here's another one here, another piece of an index card. I think this one, I'm just going to do a triangle just to show you an easier one. So I'm going to start at one corner. I'm going to come out, and then I'm going to end at the corner right below it. So watch me. I'm going to come here, out, and then I'm going to connect it to that corner down here. So there's my shape. Now I'm just going to cut right along that line. So this is a pretty simple one, right? So let me take the tape off here, and let me grab my scissors, and then I'm going to cut going up, cut going back down. There's my two pieces, and just like I did with the last ones, now I'm going to take this piece and I'm just going to simply come right across here and I'm going to attach it to the side, and look what shape I ended up creating this time. All right, so you draw, make sure you're going from one corner to the one below, and then you're going to cut along that line and then tape to the other side. All right, so I have created two possible tessellation shapes. I'm just taping that piece right on here. Okay, now notice I have a little bit of a gap right here, notice right at the bottom, and that's because if you kind of look over here, this is a little bit thicker than this guy up here in the corner, so I left a little bit of extra space here. So it's really just taking it and sliding it over and then attaching it with a quick piece of tape. So there's my two pieces, my two tessellation pieces. Now let's say you're at home and you don't have index cards. I have a piece of just regular construction paper over here. You could use regular white printer paper is fine, lined paper is fine, whatever works best for you. You could simply cut a rectangle out of this. You could measure if you want to, or I could just simply say, all right, I'm just going to cut a rectangle out on my paper. I would maybe use a ruler just to make sure your lines are straight so you don't have like crazy lines on it, but I think for myself, I'm just going to kind of come across a little bit. Just came across a little bit, and now I'm just going to cut down. And there's a rectangle. Pretty simple, right? And now, just like I did earlier, I can create a little shape here in the corner, right? And then cut it out and tape it to the other side. So let me grab my Sharpie one more time. This time I'll do maybe a little half circle here. So I'm going to start on this side and just do a little half circle. There's my shape. I'm going to cut it out just like I did the last two times. This is why I said if you don't have a steady hand with scissors, sometimes the triangle or even this little circle works well. So just like I've been doing, I'm going to take that piece and I'm just going to put it to the other side. So I'm going to put that on this side over here, just like so. And I'm going to tape that just like I did the last two. and I created another tessellation piece. So look, in just a few minutes, I was able to create three different possible tessellation pieces. Now comes the fun part. Once you've created these, now you got to get your paper, and you could use just small paper like this. It's fine. You could, if you have larger paper, you could use larger paper, whatever works best for you. I'm actually going to do, I think I'm going to use this smaller one. Let me get rid of this, move this out of the way. And I'm going to put this smaller one up here. I think I'm going to go with, this one. I think this one looks kind of cool. I kind of like the little swirly marks on here. It's going to be a little tricky because I got this really sharp, kind of tight corner right here, but I'm going to try my best. So I'm going to use my pencil. Actually, because I'm doing this on video and I want you to see what I'm doing, I think actually I'm going to use a black pen so then you can actually see what I'm doing here. So now watch carefully. I would watch before you do this. So I'm going to take my piece, and I can hold it anywhere, right? I could start here. I could start directly in the corner. I could even come back a little bit. I could start a little bit further down. I actually sometimes like to start perfectly in the corner, just like this, where that top corner is touching right at the top. Now watch what I'm going to do. I'm going to trace the outside of the shape. So I'm going to take my pen here, and I'm just going to trace the outside. I'm going to come to the bottom here. I'm going to trace along the bottom. I'm going to come up this side. So notice I'm just tracing the pieces right now. I'm going to move it, and look what you see. I got the shape on here. Now, just like a puzzle, I'm going to attach it to the next part. So notice this edge lines up perfectly with that last piece, and now I'm just going to continue. So let's see, I'm going to continue. There's another one. I'm going to go one more because you don't want any spaces. You want to fill the whole page with the pattern here. Actually, it should went up a little bit. So take a look at my first row. Now I have a choice here. I could do this again and do it the same, or I could do like I did on my first one, and I could flip it and now go the opposite way. And sometimes that's kind of cool to kind of get a little bit of a different pattern involved here. So let me just trace this one shape. And there you go. And you just keep going, my friends. You just keep going until the whole entire paper. I'm going to get a little bit messy here just because I'm trying to just kind of get at least one more row done. That was probably a bad one right here because I kind of went a little bumpy. And then I would just close this one out. And I have 2 rows done. I just have to do one more row down here using my shape. I would just line it up. This time I'd go back this way, same way I went earlier, and I would just continue and finish out. So in the end, you would end up with a whole shape page. Notice there are no spaces, no gaps. Even up here where there was a little space, notice you still see the lines of the fish down here because I'm trying to show you that the pattern continues. Even though you can't see it, the pattern still continues. These guys got chopped at the bottom, but that's okay. I'm trying to show you that the pattern continues both ways in all directions. You're only seeing a part of my pattern. Now comes the fun part, my friends. Now comes, once this is all full, now would come the decorating. So from here, you could get your markers, colored pencils, whatnot. I actually like to use a Sharpie or something permanent. And I first like to go through and just trace around the lines. Kind of like that. Once everything is traced over, then I like to go back and think for a minute. Do I see a picture? It's almost like looking up at the clouds, right? Do I see a picture in here? Kind of like earlier when I did this one, I thought of fish. So I started kind of making a little fish face. I even thought it kind of looked like the Grinch at first. I said, oh, this kind of looks like the Grinch's face or a Dr. Seuss character of some kind. That's kind of what I first thought of. But on this one, even if you don't see something or you're not sure, just simply doing some designs inside can still become a pattern. So maybe I want to do one of them using some stripes. Right? Maybe I could do stripes in one of them. Maybe the next one, I want to do some polka dots. Maybe I want to go back and forth, and now my next one is going to have the stripes again. So that means this one over here would be polka dot one. It's kind of sticking off. So look, I have a little pattern going on here, and I would just continue that pattern. Maybe the next row, I want to do something different. I just wanted to finish tracing this guy over here. Maybe the next row, I want to do something different. Maybe this time I'm going to take purple, and maybe I'll do little triangles. Ooh, my purple's running out. Ooh, I need a different purple there. Clearly, that's not a good purple. Grab a better one over here. I have a Sharpie purple. Ah, nice and dark. Not the best triangles. Right? You could do something like that. I mean, the possibilities are endless, my friends. It doesn't have to be, it's whatever you want it to be. Maybe I want to do little swirlies, right? I could keep going for forever with different types of patterns. And then I could do a totally different one down here if my last row was complete. I could definitely do one down there. So my friends, have some fun with this today. And just so you know, if you are a YouTube watcher, you can actually look up videos on YouTube, and there's a ton of videos on there that show you exactly what I'm doing right here. Again, feel free to come back to this video while you're working. You can always fast forward through it, come back through it, whatever you need to do to watch me create the pieces again, watch me tessellate, but know that you have some options here, my friends. You can see faces in your designs. You can just do simple patterns. It is totally up to you. And take a look at the pictures that I put in our slides today. I put in a one slide that has a bunch of kid versions of tessellations, hopefully to give you some ideas. So happy tessellating. I hope that I get to see some amazing things tomorrow. Later on today or on Monday for my second graders. But I look forward to just seeing how this all turns out. Have fun, my friends, and I'll see you very soon.